Hello, hello, Catherine Ripley here. And I just watched an amazing training that Minessa from Sarah and Minessa did on how your inventory just helps your sales and the role your inventory plays on your business and doing well with LuLaRoe. So it was a Facebook Live, and I tried to share it, and only the girls who are friends, I think with Brittany Hunter, it was on Pumped Up Chicks page, only the girls that are friends with her or friends with Minessa could see it. So I am being a creator and trying to figure out a way. I really want all of y'all to listen to this because it is amazing. Minessa is fabulous. She is so knowledgeable and, has a lot of statistics to prove her ways of doing things. So let me see if I can screen share and start this for you. Let's see. Try to make me a little bit smaller. I don't know if y'all can see me. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and start her. So I really encourage you to, I'm just going to play the Facebook Live, but I encourage you to really listen to this and to share it with your girls because it is lots of great information. And I am looking forward to 2017 and a year of fancy pants rocking it with LuLaRoe. And we're going to do lots of trainings and do lots of fun team building activities and just make it awesome. So I'm really excited for what the new year brings for everyone. So here you go. I'm going to go ahead and start Minessa. Listen up, share with your team, and I will record this and share it with everyone.
Wanted me to talk today was about sales and the relationship between ordering and sales because a lot of times, and feel free by the way to ask questions as you see fit, while I'm talking. Don't worry, I'm a nonlinear thinker, so I can bounce back, but I do tend to get distracted, so I'm not a good combination there, but I can I'll bounce back. I can bounce back to where I was. So feel free to ask any questions that you have, and then if I think I'm going to get to it later, then I'll let you know. So I've never done sales before. Before I started working at my company, before this, I had never really done sales. I'd managed a lot of money and a lot of finance and done a lot of compliance and things like that, but I had never really dealt with the intricacies of supply versus demand and the psychology of people when they go shopping. So for example, one of the things that we talk about all the time, which many of you are probably familiar with, you're welcome, Janelle, I think, is that how you say your name? You're welcome. Is if you walked into a Limited, which incidentally they're closing all their stores, but let's say you walked into a Limited back in the day when they were still like hip and happening, and they only had like 2 of every item hanging out there. We know that as consumers, we would walk out because we would not feel like we were getting the best variety, that we, the best for our money. For example, a great example is yesterday. I actually am looking for a treadmill, and so, but I'm very specific. I wanted to see a whole bunch, but they're closing down all these sports stores, so it's really hard to find a place where you can go look at everything, especially in Massachusetts. So I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I go, and they have 4 treadmills there. They have a Nautilus and some Soul or whatever. I don't even know what they're called. They had 4. So I walked in and I walked right out. They may have had the exact treadmill that I'm going to end up buying. But I'm not buying it from them, and I'm certainly not buying it from that store because I only saw 4. There are thousands of different treadmills out there. I want to see 20 or 30 so I can make my decision. Maybe I should go to Sears. But I want to feel like I've looked at a lot of things to be able to make that decision. That is not something that I had ever consciously thought of before joining LuLaRoe. I knew it to be true just based on my general sort of when I browse the web to buy something, I expect to see hundreds of items or I'm not going to buy it. From that particular vendor or what have you, or I may find a different vendor, but I'm going to look at 100 of them before I select the option or whatever it is that I want. I knew that I did that, but I didn't know why. So I started to do more research to understand what people are thinking about when they are shopping. What are things that are important to them? What are some of the things that we can do to set ourselves up for success before we even have a party. Now, regardless of everything I say here, it doesn't matter how great your inventory is. It doesn't matter how often you order. It doesn't matter how many parties you have. No, wait, it doesn't matter how many parties you have. If you don't have enough parties and you don't actually do the parties, you aren't going to sell anything. So that's really important. You can have parties. You have to advertise those parties. You have to help your hostesses bring people in, because even if you have 3,000 pieces of inventory, nobody will buy them if they don't know about them. And in order for people to know about your inventory, you have to tell them by advertising, however that is. It can be word of mouth advertising. It can be flyers. It can be whatever you choose, but you have to get the word out there. So this is really just meant to be a very specific area where we can prepare ourselves and our inventory for success before we even get started. And one of those things is ordering. Ordering is is key. Now, we all know that the more you have, the more you sell. We've seen evidence to support that. I've done plenty of polls that have demonstrated that the more inventory you have. Ben, I was just talking about how awesome you and your wife are. Well, your wife. I was talking about how awesome your wife is because I met her at that same training. But we all know that the more you have, the more you sell. We've seen the statistics on that. So we all buy into that, right? But it's not just about ordering more, because it's all well and good for us to order more and have more inventory. But what is it actually doing for us? Because one of the things that Art talks about a lot in terms of leadership training is never let an opportunity to train or lead somebody to be a leader go to waste. What does that mean? That means that if somebody comes to me with a question, say 2 generations down, with a question that I know their sponsor may not have the answer to, I'm not going to give the answer to that person asking the question. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to bring in their sponsor, and then I'm going to tell the second gen the answer that she wants while the other sponsor is watching. What that does is that teaches the person who's sponsoring how you bring somebody in when you're trying to create a learning triangle. It also teaches both the sponsor and the second gen how to facilitate an answer. It creates transferred trust of leadership, and it also gives the answer to both people. So you achieve 5 goals from just doing one thing. Whereas if I just gave that person the answer, it's all well and good that I'm giving her the answer, but I'm not doing anything else. In fact, chances are I'm not going to give her the answer either. Chances are I'm just going to tell her where to find the answer. So that's 6 things that I've accomplished now, because now I'm helping her realize how to problem solve and find answers. And it's showing the sponsor how you can tell somebody, go look for it yourself without being obnoxious. Because it is hard. You want to empower people to find their own answers, but at the same time, you don't want to be like, hey, get out, I'm not answering your question. So that is how you take one situation and turn it into a multifaceted learning opportunity. Similarly, we have inventory. Now, your inventory at the moment is just that. It's just inventory. Hi, Jenny. Having inventory is just inventory. Okay, so basically it's sitting there and it looks great, and goodness knows that we wear it right now. I wish I'd taken more Carlys from my inventory, because I have, I think, 40 of them, and they're all dirty because I haven't done laundry. I really need to do laundry. My closet pile of laundry is like so high. So I have no Carlys. This is my last one. And so when my husband gets home, I make him do laundry. But if I'd taken more from my inventory, then I would have more clean Carlys. But your inventory kind of just sits there. It doesn't do anything on its own. You have to turn it into a multifaceted tool. So how do we do that? There's a couple of different ways. The first way in which we do that is, and I'm going to bounce around in terms of how we do that. The first is, if you happen to have a small inventory right now, because the first question I get when I talk about strategic inventory growth and using your inventory is, what if I have a small inventory? What if I didn't know these things when I first started, and so I haven't had a chance to build up my inventory? Am I out of luck? Like, is there no hope for me because I've already let my inventory dwindle down to 200 items or what have you? The answer is no, you're not out of luck. It's totally fine. You can do this even with 200 pieces of inventory and build yourself back up. The first thing you have to be doing, though, is booking parties, because it doesn't matter how much inventory you have if you don't book parties. The first thing I'm going to suggest for booking parties, which many of you know if you've done the bootcamp, is go to festivalnet.com. It is a great site where you can go to find vendor events all over the country. And I just went in today and did a search for vendor events from now until July, found 100, of which 20 we qualified for, that are things that would be good for LuLaRoe and whatnot, and I just applied to all of them. Get some vendor events on your books. The purpose of having vendor events is so that you can make contacts. You're not trying to sell anything at these vendor events. If you sell something, great, congratulations, but you're really not trying to. Your goal is to get people into booking parties with you. Okay, so that's what the purpose of these events are. If you have more information on that one, you can do the 72-hour game plan boot camp. If you do a search on the Pumped Up Chicks Teams page, it'll pop up and all the information is there. I have several workshops individually, that are based on financial goals, booking parties, things like that. But I just wanted to touch on that a little bit now. What you want to do if you have a small inventory is try to do parties in smaller places. Okay, so this is where we come into using the inventory you have right now strategically so that you can then build it later. Do parties in small spaces. Pick friends that have have studio apartments. Do it in, if you're going to do a fundraiser for a vet, do it in an area where, that maybe you have a 10 by 10 tent that you can put outside, which I know if you happen to live in the Northeast, it's freezing cold right now. You don't want to sit outside. But the goal is to make sure that your footprint is small so that when people come in to shop with you, it is immediately assumed by them. You don't have to say anything. If you look at the small space and fill it up properly, which you don't even have to fill it up with all your inventory. You can fill it up with one rack, which carries like 50 items, another rack, which carries 50, make sure they're like spread out a little bit, have a table with a tablecloth, a bunch of signs, get a plant, a mirror, you start to fill the space up. And people will, and there are plenty of ways in which you can spread out your inventory to make it look like more. But when people walk in, it's going to look full to them, and they will automatically assume that you have more than just that inventory, but this was all that you could fit in. And you reinforce that by saying, oh my goodness, this is such great inventory. LuLaRoe has so much more. We have so much more stuff. It's amazing. But we're only able to bring a sampling of our inventory here. But if you want to book a party with me, in say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, so you have some orders coming. We'll talk about how to do that in a second. If you want to book a party with me, you can have access to all of my inventory. You don't need to, this, we only bring a sampling just to sort of expose people to it, but we don't want to bring it all because it's a lot to lug around, whatever. And then they're like, oh, really? What else does LuLaRoe have? And they're like, oh, we have this, this, and this, whatever is coming in. You've now taken what could be perceived as a detriment, which is I have a small inventory, and turned it into a positive, which is they don't know that you don't have a million items at your house, and you don't have to tell them that you do, but do say, oh, yeah, I'm going to have plenty more. Let's do a party. In fact, I'm placing an order. Why don't you look around, see what you like? I'll place some stuff especially for your party. Get them excited about seeing all of this additional stuff that you have. Even if you don't have it right now, you will, right? Because you're going to now start placing your orders. So now you've got them in there, they're talking, so you are using, what I found, by the way, just complete side note, this is my squirrel moment. Holding a phone, I found that my pinky finger is a lot less dexterous and it hurts from holding phones too much. I used to have a tripod and then my dog ate it. But just as a side note, I'm noticing that my pinky finger is just not thrilled with me. But you have now taken what could be considered a detriment and turned it into a positive. At this point, you are making contacts at the vendor event. You are getting people to sign a paper. Now, this is just for those of you guys who aren't going to watch the boot camp, which is fine. Just a quick primer for you in terms of what you do to get people to book parties. Have the sign-in sheet. Oh, do I have my sign-in sheet here? I don't think I have it here. But LuLaRoe has a sign-in sheet on Fashion Fun, right? And it just has, book a party with me, name, phone number, and do you want to host a party? And have everyone that comes in fill out that sheet, everyone, and tell them you don't have to buy anything from me. Not at all, don't worry, but you can fill this out to win a free pair of leggings. It says win a free skirt at the top, but you can change it to leggings or whatever. People will fill it out. I had 20 people fill out one form. None of them wanted to book a party. 2 of them ended up actually booking a party because I was like, oh, I actually ended up having 3 people win pairs of leggings. So I was like, oh, hey, you want a pair of leggings? Congratulations. I hope you love them. Let me know if you want more. You can book a party. And they did because they had never tried the leggings before. So they didn't want to book a party, but they did want free leggings. So they used this opportunity to get free leggings. And then they liked them so much, they booked a party. So these are sort of ways that you can get people to give you their information without ever having to spend money with you or having to book a party, which takes a lot of pressure off of them. So now you're at this point where it's time for you to start ordering. Now, a couple of things to think about in terms of your personal ordering. Now, if you happen to be someone who is an online salesperson, and a lot of people are, and they're exclusively online, and they don't do these vendor events, they don't do in-homes, I can tell you that you are selling currently to a saturated market. The online market is 100% saturated. There are 3 million people online shopping, and for the most part, you're dealing with about 120,000, 130,000 pro shoppers who, distributed amongst all the consultants, leaves you with about 2 people to shop per consultant. Plus, anybody's loyal customers, which usually will stick with the consultants that they already have. So if you're only selling online, you are literally only selling to the people who are pro shoppers and then the people who are already shopping with you, which is why you're probably seeing your sales, most of you, not everybody, most of you are probably seeing your sales go down a little bit. I'm going to posit a perspective that says, take this VIP, and I'm actually in the middle of putting like this is the stuff that the Brittany Hunters and the Jamie Bagleys and Lindsay Wheelers have known all along. Like, they've been saying it all along, but many of us had to walk the path to sort of get to where they're at. And the path that I'm walking now to get to where Lindsay Wheeler and Brittany Hunter are at in terms of their perspective is use your home parties to funnel people into your VIP group. So if somebody is at home and they're buying from you, make sure that they join your VIP group so that they can shop with you online, because now you're increasing the pool of people who are shopping from you online. But for the moment, you are still shopping with all of the people that are currently there. And one of the things you're probably noticing is that you're selling less and less, especially as you're ordering less and less at the end of the year, because most people are trying to get their inventories to go down a little bit. So you're selling less and less, you're posting less and less, and people are buying less and less. And there seems to be less engagement. Why is that? There's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is because people's eyes, so how your eye looks at things, is it takes in patterns. The brain is amazing at pattern recognition and recognizing things that haven't been there before, that are sort of like major. So for example, how often has it happened to you that somebody has said a word that you've never heard before? You know, like, let's say I'm going to just say fortuitous. Many of us have heard of it. It's fortuitous, right? I'm saying fortuitous now. Within the next 5 days, I guarantee you're going to find that word in 6 different places, and you'll swear you've never seen it before, because we start to pick that up, because now it's something that's sort of in our minds, and it just sort of, your brain memorizes it. Okay, so now you know that it's there. Similarly, with many of our album sales, what ends up happening is you take all your pictures, right? So we've got all of our pictures, fantastic, and you upload them to your VIP group, great. And let's say none of your Cassies sell this week, okay? So nothing sold this week in Cassies, so great. So you pull all of your inventory down, and then the next week you upload it again. When you upload it again, everything uploads in the same pattern that it did before. So you have your 5 smalls or your 10 smalls or what have you, and they all upload in order. And it's the same order that they were uploaded the week before and the week before and the week before. And even if you adjust by one, you sell 1 or 2, it still mostly is the same pattern. Your mind, or your customers' minds, when they go to look at your VIP page and they look at your Cassies, they don't even see all of the Cassies that are there, because they've looked at that page so often that now it's almost like a game of memory. Their brain is just picking out the whole page and just not seeing everything that's there. So they will just skim over it, and even if you have 1 or 2 new items, they won't notice it, because by and large, the pattern that you have there is remaining the same in terms of floral, Aztec floral, solid. It's all the same. So they're picking out the pattern. So you are actually doing yourself a disservice by uploading the same pictures over and over and over again without actually ever having any sales, because at this point, people aren't even seeing what you're uploading. Now, your new customers will see it and they will notice, but anyone who shops with your VIP group regularly is not going to even look at your Cassies, and because if they go in, even if they click on the album, they're not going to see what's there. So how do we make that work for us? Well, I have a lot of suggestions. So some suggestions. The first suggestion is this. If you've noticed that you haven't sold a single Cassie in 6 weeks, stop uploading your Cassies. Just put them aside for a little while and just don't upload them. Give your VIPs a time to not see them for a bit. Then I would suggest you either rename them if you don't use, I don't know how to use any of those shop the row or roll with me or kind of things like that. Either rephotograph your Cassies or rename them in your file structure. If you upload from a folder, just rename them. That'll change the order in which they upload. And then after say 2 months, be like, we're doing a great launch of Cassies. This is amazing. Blah blah blah. This is awesome. Great. And you upload all your Cassies again. Because you've waited 2 months, you've changed the background and changed the order of your backdrop in your order. When people see it, now they will see all of them, even the people that have been there 100 times. And case in point on this, Syra and I had this Amelia that we had since before she launched. Like, she'd had it for a really long time, and so about her launch. And it had been posted at all of our parties, every single one, for the last year or so, like all the way up until say June, which is when it finally sold. And it was August. And we did this, right? We made the change because as we were starting to understand people's psychology and how their minds work, we were like, oh, okay, what do we do? Like, how do we sort of deal with this? And so we made the change. We sold it the very next day to somebody who had been in our VIP group from the beginning. And she said, oh my goodness, I have never seen this before. This is amazing. I've been looking for this for months. And I'm like, looking for months? It's been on our inventory for like a year. We've had it all the time. But she never actually saw it, even though she had been in every single VIP party that we had had. So just know, people will see things differently. But when you order your inventory, so now at the moment, we're taking, what we've done so far is we've just taken the inventory that you have already and made it work for you in several different ways. It's not working for you just the one way. We're making it work for you in other ways. We're making it look like it's bigger. We're making it look like it's more varied. We're making people look at it more, things like that. Outfits help with that too, by the way. But how do you get your inventory? Okay, so now this becomes a key in terms of creating sustainable inventory growth, and making sure that you are buying inventory that is going to work for you. So the math that I use is this. I want to take all of you back, and we're not having these same issues now, but I just want to take you back for a little while now that we're no longer in the throes of being back ordered, to 4 months ago or 3 months ago, when the back orders were insane and people were 6 weeks behind, and nobody had inventory and they were all freaking out. Nobody was buying. It was hard. Everybody had all this stress and anxiety, and people were so upset. What I want to ask you is, did you, because many of you were probably part of that, did you like feeling that anxious? Do you even want to feel that anxious? Do you like having that fear? Now, the answer to that question, because I don't really expect anyone to answer, is no. You're welcome. The answer to that is no. Nobody wants to be anxious. There are some weird people out there who probably do like being anxious, but I'm going to, I have no idea how to help them. But for most of us, nobody wants to feel that anxious. So now I'm putting on my Morpheus hat. Sorry, my nose is really itching. My Morpheus hat. And what if I told you that there was a way for you to place your orders so that you never have to worry about that again? So that it does not matter how backlogged the home office is. It doesn't matter how back ordered everything is, or if there's missing items. None of that matters. You will never feel the impact, not even once. Okay, I can tell you exactly how to do that, and it is surefire and it is foolproof. So if you follow this process, you will never feel that anxiety again. You may feel other anxieties, like I don't know about those, but you won't feel anxiety about this. And the way, just as an FYI, I think I hear my husband's car. He has a very loud Mustang. It was his dream car. He was so happy to get it. His life is full of joy now that he has it. But anyway, he's going to walk in and my dogs are going to lose their minds, just as an FYI. So there's going to be loudness, and then there will be silence again. The reason that many people have these issues is because the way that we have become accustomed to ordering is order a few big orders. So I'm going to have a party today and I'm going to sell 33 items, and I'm going to have a party tomorrow and I'm going to sell 40 items, but I'm not going to place any orders. I'm going to place my order once a week on Sunday. That's when I'm placing my order. Okay, so once a week on Sunday, I'm placing my order. What that means is, though, is that I only have, orders coming in once a week, really, because I'm only ordering once a week. And that means 4 times a month. That's it. And that's weird that the dogs didn't bark. And if there is a backup at the home office for any reason, then I'm going to get 3 orders for the month. Oh wait, there's more than one backup. 2 orders for that month. Oh, more than that. Okay, 1 order. I'm only getting 1 order this month, and then my other 3 orders are back ordered. When am I going to get those? Right. So the delay will go on for some time. So you're going to feel the impact of that delay the following month when you only get 1 box, right? So now you've only got 1 box, but you have your item, your money is, your money is already tied up on the other inventory that you have, so you can't order anymore. So now you're at a point where you're like, I can't order because I have no money. I have 1 box coming in, and it has like 100 items, but it's just 1 box. And I don't have anything for the foreseeable few months. So now you're looking ahead to the next month. So we're looking into November now from August. And we're like, I won't have any inventory for November. So we're seeing a situation when that happened of people being concerned that they're not getting any inventory because of the backlog at home office, because there were certain dates that were being missed. Not everything was being missed. The people that did not suffer were people who ordered every other day and ordered small amounts. So they ordered 33 items not necessarily every other day, every other party is sufficient too, but usually every other day or every other party, depending on where you're at in terms of your business. Because what that did was, so if I say now, okay, great, you're not spending any additional money. You're buying 100 items still, but instead of buying 100 items on Sunday, I'm buying 33 items on Sunday, 33 items on Tuesday, 33 items on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, I'm taking off, right? That's what I'm doing. Same amount of money being spent, just staggering it over a couple of days. What that means is this, is that instead of placing 3 or 4 orders a month, now you're placing 12 to 15 orders a month. If you're placing 12 to 15 orders a month, if 1 or 2 boxes falls off or has a delay or has an issue, you still have 12 or 11 other boxes coming over the course of time, and you don't have so much money tied up that you can't afford to buy anymore. Because yeah, okay, that one box of 33 items for $500 may not be coming right now, or $600 depending on what's in it. But it's all right, because you still have other boxes coming in with 33 items. You can still sell those items, and then you can also make sure that you don't have a gap. So where other people are freaking out because they are ordering hundreds of items at a time and only once or twice a month, you aren't concerned because you have orders coming in every other day anyway. And if they don't come in for any couple of days, that's fine, because you are already covered for the next few deliveries that you're getting. And then when the back order stuff comes, now you've just got extra inventory. Now, Syra, interestingly enough, so Syra confesses to this wholeheartedly, that when the back orders were, I was ordering every other day, right? And Syra says you have to stop ordering. We have inventory coming in. We have a lot of back orders that haven't come in, and we are owed like 6 boxes or 7 boxes. It was a lot of boxes by then. I think it was several $1,000s. And Syra was like, we can't order anymore. And I said, Syra, you can't do that. You can't break the cycle, because if you break the cycle, then you are setting yourself up for failure in 2 months. Not right now. Right now you'll be fine, but in 2 months you're going to set yourself up for a problem, because if there is a back order issue in 2 months, we will feel it then. As long as you're ordering every other day, then you won't ever feel it, because even if there are back orders, you will already have a system in place, which means you are now mitigating the anxiety that you're going to feel when everyone else is freaking out about the fact that they don't have TC leggings. I'm going to tell you, everyone was freaking out that they didn't have TC leggings. Syra and I still had about 200 pairs, because we had orders that we had been placing every other day, and we always keep 1 box as a back stock. So in the event that there is a back order and we need to pull some out, we can pull out some leggings to add in. It's not that we did anything. We didn't have special access. We did not buy a single pair of TC leggings for the entire time there was a drought. We wanted everybody else to get them, because we had saved and we had been strategic in how we saved our inventory. So the first thing I want to suggest to you is take a look at how you're ordering and just change it. Order 33 items every other day. Now, start this January 1st, because obviously now I know that many of you are trying to get inventory low because of tax, but starting January 1st, every other day. But you have to have the parties to be able to accommodate that. And that's where a couple of other things come in. The additional thing, by the way, just a side note before I move on, if you order 33 items every other day, honey, can you actually turn on the oven to 350 so I can heat up the pie? Could you turn the oven on to 350? You know what? Here's the thing, Courtney. You have the money. It's just a matter of how you use it. So one of the things I want to talk about is, we're going to talk a little bit about making the money for that. But you will have the money if you're doing the parties. And that's really where the key comes in. There's no reason to order if you're not doing parties. If you order 33 items, by the way, just make sure that when you're ordering, other than the leggings that you can order in any denomination, any numbers that you want, make sure that you don't order any more than 2 of any style, size. So Cassie XS, 2. Cassie L, 2. Don't order more than 2 of any particular size, of any style, just to minimize your chance of duplicates. I don't find duplicates to be a particular issue, but just if you are concerned about it, if you make sure that you stay to 2, you'll be fine. So here is the thing to think about in terms of your having the money. You don't need inventory if you're not having parties. That's really, the bottom line is that. If you're not having parties, you don't need the inventory. You have to have parties. What kinds of parties can you have? There is in the Sales 101 training that I did, and I can actually upload the PowerPoint slide to the Pumped Up Chicks team. There's a slide in there, slide later. It's one of the later slides. But there's a list of 30 different ways in which you can expose people to LuLaRoe or sell LuLaRoe. If you are having trouble booking parties, I urge you to look at that list and just say, how many of these have I actually done? Most people have only tried doing 2 or 3 of those items. There are 28 other ways that you can sell your inventory. Until you have tried all 30 multiple times over the course of a year, you haven't tried everything. So there are plenty of ways. I'll upload it so you guys can just go down the list. It really is just a list of things that you're like, all right, vets, salons, whatever. Today, for example, I have been so remiss in making my list. My 72-hour game plan, I have been very remiss in it. But holidays and what have you, I'm like, nobody will listen for right now, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, you know what? I am procrastinating. I'll upload it to Pumped Up Chicks. It's from it's going to be a presentation. I'll just upload the presentation. You guys can look at it. It's a presentation I did in Savannah for how to increase your sales area. It's just basically a list of ways in which you can sell LuLaRoe, or expose people to it. Not all of it is about selling, but you want to make sure that you're exposing people to it. So, and this is the other key about making sure that you order 33 items every other day. Okay, now this is where the psychology becomes sort of really key, and it's something I only realized recently. I think while I was sort of it's one of those moments where I was like, okay, but it took a minute to be like, oh yeah. So here's what it is. Let's say you have an inventory of 1,000 pieces. Fantastic. Congratulations, you got 1,000 pieces, right? And you're ordering 100 pieces at a time. 2 things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is if you have a party today, day after tomorrow, day after that, and the day after that, even if they're separated by 1 or 2 days, all of the people at those parties are going to get the exact same inventory. Why? Because that's all you have. You're uploading what you have. You're bringing to the party what you have. You're not leaving anything behind. Maybe you are, but for the most part, they're going to see the same stuff. If you are in an area that you're trying to open up, like so-and-so refers you to so-and-so refers you to so-and-so, these girls are all going to start seeing the same inventory. And the message that they're going to get and the message they're going to send to their friends is, Minessa, she has great inventory, but she doesn't change it a lot. And every time we've had a party, she has sort of the same inventory. Not many people are buying from her. I don't know why. Now, it may very well be, by the way, that people are buying from you. When you have 1,000 pieces, you may have sold 40 items at each party, and so that's considered fine selling. But for the consumer, they aren't seeing that. They don't see the difference in 40 items here or there. They're not even going to see the difference in 100 items here or there. For them, you have the exact same inventory you did the other day, right? So that's what they see. If you order 33 items every other day, then no matter when you have your parties, you will always have something new to take. And you can even use that by saying, hey, I just got a box today. I haven't had time to open it. I'll bring it to your party. We can do a box opening. Or if you're doing it on, it's a Facebook Live, or if it's a Facebook a group or VIP party, you can say that. You can be like, you know what, we just got a box today. We haven't had a chance to open and photograph it. Let's just do a shop the box. Something like that, to be able to say, you are now demonstrating that you always have new inventory. The message now that people will send is, oh, I really want to shop with Laura. She has a new box coming in like every other day. I can't wait to see what's in her next one.
That's so true.
That is a very small but major difference in terms of how people will talk about your business. They will be talking about you as somebody who they don't say, oh, she only has 33 new items coming in. They're going to say, oh, she has new items coming in. There's always a new box for us to open. This is so much fun. As opposed to, she does have a lot of inventory, but she doesn't seem to sell a lot of it. Which means, who would you want to book a party with? Like if somebody came to you and said, Laura is awesome. She has so much inventory, but nobody really seems to buy it. She's had the same stuff for a couple of weeks versus Laura's awesome. She's great. She has a new box like every other week or every other day. Right away, you already know who you'd shop with. And that is part of using your inventory to do more things than just be inventory. In addition, when you do these shop the boxes and whatnot, but every time you add a new item, style, size, whatever it is that you do, it's going to shift around if you order enough of them. So let's say you order Cassie's, right, with your one order this week. So like on Sunday, you're going to order Cassie's and leggings. I always like to order like a style and leggings. So, just so like I'll order 2 or 3 packs of leggings and then like the rest of it, I'll get the style. So let's say I do 2 of every size of every Cassie, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take pictures of it and I'm going to meld them all in. Now I have 10 or 15 new Cassies that I put in. Maybe, I can't remember, I think it's 16 new Cassies that have gone in there. That significantly changes the way the pattern looks for the consumer. So now when they go in, they are not going to see the pattern because I have so many new ones in there that they can see the difference. So you can take your inventory And it can be just inventory, and that's fine. And you can sell it, and it's great, and people will buy it. But you can use it to mitigate several issues that many of us have seen people run into over the last several months. Low stock, duplicates, difficulty booking parties. And a lot of the reasons people have difficulty booking parties is because their inventories are varied enough. You cannot be afraid of investing in your business, because one of the other things that I hear a lot about is people say that they're having trouble selling, and I'll ask them, okay, well, what have you done, right? And so they've done a couple of things, whatever. I'm like, how much inventory do you have? Oh, well, I have 158 items or 160 items or whatever. Like, it's usually very, very low. And I'll be like, where is the rest of it? And what they say is that they were so scared to reinvest in their business that they took all the money that they made and they paid off their debt and they did all this stuff, but they ended up now with only 100 items. When you do that, you are not investing in your business, you are investing in fear. Okay, so you have to really ask yourself, why did I join LuLaRoe? And I don't mean your big ethereal esoteric why that Jordan talks about. That's very important, but that's not the one that I'm talking about specifically right now. Right now I'm talking specifically about financially, why did you join LuLaRoe? Regardless of what your deeper, more meaningful why is, you need money to accomplish it. In order for you to make money, you have to invest money. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. And just that $5,000 or $6,000 that you invested to get your initial inventory is not enough. You need to invest more for a sustainable long-term business. Yesterday I did a training where I likened this to the goose that laid the golden egg. You can very easily kill this goose right now, take all of the golden eggs and pay off your debt, but then the goose is dead and you don't get any more golden eggs. If you continue to nurture and put money into this business and raise the what's it call it? Your inventory, right? You invest back in yourself, then you can rebuild. And you can continue to build, and over time you will build a sustainable business, and the eggs will keep coming, and then you will have more money than you need. I'll tell you, Syra and I made a very, very difficult choice when we first started, and I will get to the couple of questions that you guys just had, Catherine and Megan. When we first started we started last year, but she started last year, but I joined her in January. But when we first started, I recognized in about January, February that I needed to make a decision about what I was going to do. Was I going to do this full time or not? And I decided to do this full time. But I knew that we weren't making enough money in our sales or in our bonus check for me to be able to replace my income. I was making a 6-figure salary at my old company, and we just weren't making enough to cover that. But I knew that if we just invested our time, our money, our energy, every single thing we had, our souls into this business, and just basically worked it for 6 to 8 months, that come August and September, we would be able to start paying off our debt. We'd be able to take salaries. We'd be able to support our family. We'd be able to do all the things that we wanted to do. But it was going to be 6 really, really hard months. And it was. We lived off my husband's paycheck. He was wonderful. He's supporting us basically entirely because I wasn't bringing a whole lot of money in. Syra was still working at her job, and we invested all of our money. We lived off of credit cards. It was not responsible by any stretch of the imagination, but we believed in this business, and we knew that the outcome, if we invested in building our business and doing our parties, would be enough for us to be able to pay off all of our debt later. And it has. So it's starting in August and September, Syra and I started paying off our debt. We now take regular salaries. We're able to support our families. My debt is actually, I only have the cars and so we have my husband's car, we have my car, and then we have the house. And then I co-signed a loan for my brother's car. Other than that, we have no credit card debt left. In fact, I think I have like 3,000 credit card debt that I just cannot seem to pay off because I just keep using it. But that's it. But I was 50,000 in credit card debt up until like October. And it was very anxiety inducing. So no, you have to bank on yourself. If you do work the business and you use everything you think of, how can you use it strategically? I want you to start thinking about your business and start thinking about everything that you do and ask yourself, can I find a way to make this multifaceted, or is this just singular? Like, some things are just going to be singular. Like, writing a list of to-do, that's going to be probably singular. But there's other things that won't be. Ask yourself if you can make other things work for you. So I just want to answer these couple of questions. I do albums online. We don't use Row With Me or Shop the Row. We do entirely too many in-homes and in-person events. We cannot keep on top of our inventory. So we're actually having a VIP party tomorrow. Our VIP sales have gone pretty low because we do mostly, again, in homes, and we were trying new strategies of how to sell online. And so we've just been playing around with a couple of things. But we now basically take pictures like Lindsay Wheeler does. We have 3 items to a picture, and then we just rephotograph our inventory for every party. But we don't do our entire inventory. We do 6 or 7 styles. And then, so Megan, if you have let your inventory go down to like low numbers, that's fine. Don't worry. You are not, this is not like you're not done. Do the boot camp. You can definitely bring yourself back. It's not a problem. It can be done. It's hard work, but it's a simple process. It's just a very long process and very difficult to sort of explain on a live video, but go to the 72-hour game plan bootcamp. You can do the search in the Pumped Up Chicks. Follow it from workshop 1 to workshop 7. I have to redo workshop 7, but all the way to workshop 7. And workshop, I think, 1 through 3 will get you to the point where you now have an idea of how to get yourself back up. Just know, when Syra and I partnered up, we only had 158 items in our inventory. That's where I got that number earlier. That's all we had, because Syra did not believe in replenishing your inventory. She did not believe in growing her inventory. These were philosophies that her and I argued about. And then she was just like, oh, fine, do what you want. And I did. And she's like, yes, you were right. And, as a sister, you kind of love to hear that, right? Okay. Diane, I would strongly recommend that you have your husband watch the boot camp with you. You should do it together. I talk a lot about the more you have, the more you sell. But other than the boot camp, I can upload in Pumped Up Chicks. I have some statistics that I got from polls that I took that demonstrate that the more you have, the more you sell. So when we first took the poll back in August, most people's inventories were less than 500 pieces, and most people were only selling between 1 and 10 items per party. And they were only having 1 or 2 parties per week. Now, we see most people having between over 750 to over 1,500 in their inventory. They're having more parties per week, and more importantly, the largest percentage of people is selling over 25 items per party. So it is a clear example of how having more you have, the more you sell. But I think it's really important for your husband to understand that this is a retail business, and like any retail business, you have to invest in it to make it grow. This is not lip sense. It's not Scentsy. It's not something you can put $99 in and then that's it. You just live off of what you get. You have got to build your inventory. It's almost like if you decided to open a convenience store and bought everything to fill the convenience store and then said, okay, that's it. I'm done. We're not going to add anything new. It doesn't matter what people want. It doesn't matter that, people want more variety of shampoo. We're only carrying Pantene. That's it. People are going to stop shopping with you. And so that's what you want to sort of use that as to liken it to him, to sort of give him an analogous story. Kathleen, definitely work on, so the way that the 72-hour bootcamp works is this, okay? It assumes that you're going to sell 3% of your inventory, which is what most people are able to sell per party. You have to book parties, 4 parties a week. That's it. 4 parties a week. You have to have 4 parties a week. Right? And you can do it for less, but it'll just take you longer. If you book 4 parties per week, you should be able to sell about 10 items per party. We're talking multis, live, in-home, whatever. And if you have not sold your 40 items per week or your 10 items per party, then do outfits, do a live sale, whatever it takes to sell 10 items per day for 4 days. That's it. As soon as you sell 20 items, you now have enough money to place a very small 33-piece order. In fact, now that they have reduced the limit to 30, you can place an order even faster. So the second you sell 20 items, you have enough now to buy Cassie's, Randy's, Classics, Perfects, or leggings, and any kid stuff. Okay, so buy that. Next 20 items you sell, buy another 30 items. Next 20, buy another 30 items. It becomes a game that you play. Every 20 items you sell, you buy 30. Every 20 you sell, you buy 30. Over time, you will start to sell more because your inventory is growing. Because if you're selling 20 and buying 33, that's 13 more you're adding to your inventory every time you order, which means that now your inventory is growing, but slowly. Doing it that way also allows you to have a little bit, by the way, 20 items. If you sell them, you have $583 to spend on inventory and $120 to spend on yourself. If you have 4 parties a week, that ends up being about $1,000 160 or so that you spend on inventory, and then about 300 per week. And if you have 4 weeks in the month, then you're looking at $1,200. So now you'll have $1,200 in cash that you can put towards whatever you want, and you're still ordering every other week, every other party. So you're able to grow your inventory and make money. Again, details for this are in the 72-hour game plan bootcamp. Nice job, Michelle. Reinvesting. Our tire inventory right now about 2,500. We were at 3,000, but we're letting ourselves get a little low for the end of the year, and then we'll pick it up again in January. Thanks, Laura. I'm so sorry if I'm talking too fast, guys. I always do that. Okay, nice job, Rachel. Cruise qualifying. The bootcamp, Marissa. If you do a search in the search bar up here for 72-hour bootcamp, it should just pop up. Yeah, workshop 7, Rachel, I need to redo. I think I could do a better job. I didn't really like the way I presented it last night. I need to do it again. How do you reinvest and pay off your investment? Michelle, look at the 72-hour game plan bootcamp. I walk you through the entire process. Robin, for each order, so Robin asked, did I hear not to order more than 2 in each size per style per order? And that's just to avoid duplicates. So in the long run, you want to have about 10 to 15 per style / size. But when you are placing an order, try not to buy more than 2 in any size just to avoid duplicates. I mean, you can order 10 all at once if you want, really, but you might get some duplicates. So that's just something to keep in mind. Bootcamp, do people come to you for the Syra and I do both. So Janelle, whose name I don't know how to say, has asked do people come to me for the majority of our parties? I think it's a 50-50. We travel a lot. So I've driven all the way down to Connecticut, way up into New Hampshire. We have a very large radius of places that we'll drive around for parties. But we have people who come to our home also. So it really depends. For the vendor events, we obviously would go to those. Fundraisers, usually we go to those. And online, I mean, the fact of the matter is, Syra and I just don't do a lot of online. We don't really like to sell online. So I have been very bad about, really investing in that, because I don't believe that's where the money is. I'm wrong, but that is not where the big money is. The online sales are good for your current people who are local to you, who want to shop but don't necessarily cannot necessarily come to your house. So our radius right now is about 100 miles around my house and Syra's house. So that's a pretty big radius in terms of how far we can go. But the people that we go to see and we book parties with can't always drive down to Syra's house in Nashua to be able to get the items that they want. For them, we need to start uploading all of our inventory, and because I've already seen that we've lost sales because people who buy from us very routinely when we go out, they want to buy from us online, but we were not uploading. They're like, when are you uploading your inventory? And I'm like, oh, well, we don't really do that, haha. And they're like, okay, well, I'll have to go buy from somebody else. So just know that I think that online is really meant to be a place for your true VIPs, people who will shop with you, whether or not you are local, but they know you otherwise and they want to shop with you. So if you're not having a bonus check coming in and still work full-time, it does, Michaela, it is very, very hard to do this full-time, to have a full-time job and not have a bonus check and still trying to pay off your $15,000 in Lula debt. My advice would honestly be to do the boot camp. And I know I keep saying that, but the only reason I'm saying that is because it's 6 workshops, probably about 10 hours total, and it can be intimidating, but you do them very periodically, of exactly step-by-step how to walk you through. Like, it'll literally take you from place to place. So I just don't think that I have the ability to be able to summarize that in a Facebook Live in such short time. So definitely do the bootcamp. A lot of your teammates are attesting to the fact that it helped them. Now, again, the bootcamp doesn't work for everybody, because if you happen to be an orange or a blue, you may be more excited about not having that kind of structure. But then just work the 72-hour game plan. That's sufficient. Whatever you do, though, if you do the bootcamp or the 72-hour game plan, one way or another, you have to work the 72-hour game plan. There is no way around it. You have to do that. Annette McNally is asking why are we lowering our inventory for the end of the year. It's for tax purposes. And I don't understand taxes enough to be able to say this specifically, but basically, in a nutshell, we can get taxed on the inventory that we have on hand at the end of the year because it will count as an asset. And so the lower inventory you have, the less you get taxed on it. I would say 12, Robin. I would say you have to 12 to 15 in each size, each style. Alrighty. Okay. So I know a lot of blues, but even the blues have found the boot camp to be helpful. And that's really what it comes down to. So what it comes down to is this, but only if I have received it, right? Oh, received what? I missed something somewhere. I know I answered a question, and now this is how spacey I am. I know I answered her question. Okay, Rochelle, you're going to have to actually tell me what I received somewhere. Okay. So the key takeaways from this particular, received the inventory. I don't know the answer to that question. My sister does all the taxes, so I let her deal with it. There are many things that I'm good at. There are many things that I'm very bad at. And one of the things that I am really bad at, like you never want me doing your taxes. There should never be a time where you're like, oh, I'll call Minessa for a tax question. Nope, don't do that. Call Sire for a tax question. All right, so the key takeaways are this. If you took nothing else away, take this away. You have to have parties. You must have parties. There's no universe in which you're going to be successful without parties. And by that, I mean you have to have in-home parties. You can do 5,000 VIP parties in a week if you want to. Sure, go ahead. But you are not going to be able to make the kind of money that you're going to be able to make with in-home, in-person parties. There just is no way. There's not enough customers. So if you are looking for making life-changing money, which I assume many of you are, you have got to get over whatever hump it is, because I know that we all have. For me, it's wicked bad social anxiety. You have to get over that and just get out there and book parties. I myself have such anxiety for me that when I have been telling myself to make this ridiculous list of the 5 salons and the 5 vets in the neighborhood that I can call. Right? And I wouldn't do it. I found 8,000 different things that I could do that are not making that list. I didn't even have to call them. I just had to make the list. For me, that was a huge roadblock because I have such horrible social anxiety. I'm afraid of people. I don't want to call them. And by just writing their names down, now that means I'm one step closer to calling them. But in the end, I'll do it the same way I did it the last 10 times I did it, because I do end up doing it. I go through a process to get there. Every single time I go through the same process. I will procrastinate. I will cry. It's like the 5 stages of grief over here. And I'm just like, no, I'll barter. I'll do whatever it takes to not have to make that list. But in the end, I have to make the list. I have to call the people. I have to book the parties, because my inventory is pointless if it's just sitting on my shelf. And it's only slightly less pointless being uploaded in parties. Because think about it this way. You could make several grand having some parties, having 3 in-home parties in a day. Or you can make several grand having 10, 14 VIP parties or hostess online parties in a week. How much time are you spending? You are now sacrificing a lot of time with your family, a lot of personal time, and for you who said that you work full time, you're sacrificing too much. It's not about how hard you work, because everybody here is working ridiculously hard. And it's also not about how smart you're working, because all of you are working very smart. It's about working effectively, taking your effort and devoting it to places where it can do the most good. And by making things that you're doing do more good than they're already doing. So if you can have your inventory work for you 6 or 7 different ways, then you just managed to spend 5 minutes to do something, to do 5 or 10 different things, as opposed to just doing one thing. So those are some of the things that sort of that I think about when I think of inventory. I don't know how long I've been on, actually. So I don't know when I got on. So how long have I been on, guys? I feel like a long time. Does anybody have any other questions?
All right, guys. I hope that you loved that as much as I did. Tons of great information, and it really proved the point that I really feel like I did in-home shows the whole first year and a half of my journey with LuLaRoe, and rocked it. And a lot of my VIP customers are women that I met at those home shows. And so that's actually one of my goals for 2017, is to go back and to try to do at least 2 home shows a week. I am going to shoot for that and cruise qualify. And so I really encourage all of y'all to sit down and write out your why, and your why changes, write out your goals, and write out your dream big, and just keep that in mind. And it's super simple. And I think Minessa said it on here, and I was chatting with her on the phone, on text a little while ago, and she said, it is just keeping it simple. We buy the clothes, we sell the clothes. We buy the clothes, we sell the clothes. And so it's all about just doing that. And so really get back to the basics, and you can make amazing money and have fun and develop so many great relationships. And so I encourage all of y'all to make your goals and write them down. down. You know, I feel like when you write them down, it kind of makes it permanent. And really get back to your why. And we are going to start 2017 with a bang. I'm excited. It's going to be so much fun. All right. Well, thank you all. And I will post this for you all to listen to. Bye.